Hi guys! So today has been a cause for celebration and a momentous occasion for Hobonichi lovers all over the world as we have got to start our Spring Cousins. Officially the Spring Cousin doesn't start until April 1st, but the weekly view starts today because it's Monday of the week that includes April the 1st, and so that's when I started mine. So I've set it up and I wanted to show you what it looks like at the moment. It's still obviously quite sparse because I've only just started using it, but there's still enough to give you an idea. So first of all, as you can see, I'm using this awesome faux leather Hobonichi cover. It's not technically Hobonichi, but it's identical to a Hobonichi cover, and I love it. And I've got these two pens, well, a pen and a pencil. So this is my Pilot Metropolitan. I'll do a separate video on my planner pens because there have been a lot of changes of late. So this is, of course, a purple fine nib Pilot Metropolitan with purple ink, and I'm really enjoying using it. And then here I've got a Parker mechanical pencil, which I'm only keeping in case there's something that I want to write, probably not in here itself, because I'm kind of committed to the monochromatic purple fountain pen look, but just in case I happen to need something somewhere to be written in pencil. So I might rethink this, but that's how it looks like at the moment. So when you open it, it looks very similar to how it looked before. I've just got my library cards because this is my work planner. And I've got a Hobonichi stencil, the green one, which I was using for the check boxes, but I've actually now discovered that I can just be lazy and draw in the check boxes myself, and it doesn't really look much different. So I've started doing that, and I'm just keeping this in here for now in case for some reason I need it for something else, but I might take it out. And then I've got these pointy arrows, which I use to signal important tasks that I don't want to forget. And I've got a few sticky notes which I only use to cover up sensitive information when I'm making videos. Then on here I've washi taped in a picture of Panda. And I've got another couple of pictures of Panda that I want to put in my office next time I go in. So I'm just keeping them there. This is where I keep stuff that is on its way to my office that I have to bring in, like expense receipts and stuff like that. And then here I've got one of the A6 Hobonichi booklets, and I've put all of my information like passwords and employee information and login information and all of the kind of stuff that will roll over from year to year, because I put it in my cousin last year and then I had to copy it, and I decided that I don't want to copy it more than I have to. So if I have it in this and I put it in here, it will be very secure. So that's that. And then on the other side of this, I've got this card that my friend gave me a few years ago, and I love it because it just kind of sums up how I feel about work. So I transferred that over from the last cousin as well. And then for now, I've got everything very plain intentionally. I feel like I like having this just look nice and clean and simple, and I keep my decoration and colors from my other planners. That might change, but that's how it is at the moment. Because last year I put stickers on here, and then I decided I just like having it be completely like smooth and flat. So the first spread is the vertical monthly layout, and I really like this one, but I decided to simplify it a bit in comparison with last year. And I'll do a separate video that's a complete flip through of my completed 2015 cousin, because I think that's quite a historic event as well, that I've made it through the whole entire year. So that will be coming up in a separate video. But I'm just keeping this for days where I've got events. And that's because my work is divided into things like teaching and, you know, like kind of admin events like meetings and conferences and stuff on the one hand, and then research on the other hand, which I do at home. And the research is the thing that I always worry the most about, because it can be hard to like kind of carve out time after you've dealt with all the meetings and the teaching and conferences and all of that kind of stuff. So I really like to see how much time I'm going to have for the at-home projects. So what I've done for now is I've just gone in and listed the dates where I've got an event going on. And this is obviously this starts in April, so there wouldn't be a lot of teaching here anyway. This year, as I've mentioned, I'm on research leave, so I haven't been teaching anyway. So it would look very different during term time because a lot of the days would be blocked off for teaching. But I've just marked off any time when I'm not going to be at home, as far as I know now. Like, so this is a summer course, and this is some exam admin that I'm doing. And so I can see at a glance that all of the blank days are days when I can assume that I can be at home to work on my projects. And then at the bottom, I've put in the projects that I'm working on. So these are the things that just depend on me, that I have to do them, either my like big writing projects or something like I have to read a PhD dissertation for somebody. So things that I don't have to turn up to, if you see what I mean. I just have to do them myself, and those are the things that'll go in here. But I'm not going to mark those off because that could change. So what happened last year is that I marked off a lot of time where I was assuming that I was going to have that for research, and then I ended up having to fill some of it in with other events, and it got kind of messy. So I think I'll just leave this for events, and then down here I'll know that any blank space I can slot these research projects or independent things into. So that's that. And then if we go to the monthly view, this is the first monthly view, and I'm just using these in a way in the same kind of way I'm marking off events. So this is going to be where I go to if I have to schedule something. So it's got a bit more space than this one. This is just a very, very basic way of looking at the month to see when I'm out and when I've got the whole day to myself. But this will be more specifically for particular events. And here, let me show you another month. So this is where I put tasks that I have to do sometime in the month, or things that I want to keep track of and that I have to remember to do sometime during the month. And I'm also using it for my current project, which is it's a translation and commentary. So I'm marking off what I'm expecting to do, like how many pages I'm expecting to translate every week, so that I have a kind of like nice overview of what I'm expecting to do in the month. So that's how I'm using that. So you can see in this one, I've got a few more things that I have to remember to do in June. So these are just things like to keep in mind that I have to get done sometime in the month. And as I look at these, when I decide roughly when I want to do them, then I'll transfer them over to my weekly view. So this is the first weekly layout, and this is today. So this is what I've just started on. And I've just put in my overall tasks for the week. So this is like kind of how much I'm expecting to get done every day. And then here, and you've seen this before if you've seen my other cousin videos, I just mark off how much I expect to get done every hour. And that's really helpful when I'm working on something at home, so that I can break the task down into smaller chunks. And I've just gone through and filled in, like a few tasks that I know about. Everything that I've got in the monthly views I've put on here, so that it will already be there when I get to it. And I've decided, at least for now, that I'm not going to use appointment stickers. So last year, if you are familiar with my setup, I was using see-through appointment stickers just to add a bit of color. And I've decided, for the sake of simplicity, and not so that I don't have to like get out an extra thing when I make an appointment, that I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to block off the time. And if it's an event like this one, I'll just circle it. Oh, I'm not sure if you can see that. Let's see. I just circle the time when it starts. And if I know how long it lasts for, then I'll like kind of block off that chunk of time. And I think that will be enough. Because as I said, I feel like I'm sort of getting like my fix of like stickers and colors and stuff from my other planners. And this, I just want to be really basic and simple and functional. Then I think the most exciting change, for me anyway, is in the daily spread. So last year I was using this for notes, and then I designated a section in the back, like the last month, for reference, so things that I wanted to be able to come back to. This year, I've decided that instead I want to try to keep roughly to the day per page kind of idea. I'm not going to use this for daily planning unless I need to, but I thought that it would be nice to have the possibility of doing that, because last year I didn't use the daily spread for any, it was all for notes, so there was really no connection between the day that I was using it and the I wasn't using it with the dates in mind. I was just ignoring the dates, if that makes sense. And I decided that it would be nice to have something more kind of close to a day per page so that the dates will mean a bit more. But realistically, that's not always going to be possible, because there's some days when I need to make more notes, some days when I need to make fewer notes. There's some days when I might need it for planning. If I have a really busy day with lots of stuff going on and I feel like the weekly spread isn't enough, it would be nice to have access to the page on the correct date. But there are lots of days when I probably won't need that. So what I'm going to do is kind of a mix. I'm not going to allocate any of this for reference, because that means that I would be cutting myself off from the possibility of using those days on the day, if you see what I mean, which is what happened last year. And so instead I thought I'll keep these few blank graph pages at the back for things like students' marks. That's the obvious one that I can think of. Things that I know that I'll need to refer to over and over again over the course of the year. And then maybe there will be a couple of other things like that, but that's the main thing I can think of. So I'm reserving these pages for students' marks. And then the rest of the pages, I'm going to use like kind of roughly corresponding to the day, but maybe not necessarily always corresponding to the day, because you can see I've already started this and the 4th of April is Friday. So obviously that hasn't happened yet. But there were a couple of things that I wanted to copy over from my previous cousin, because I know that I'm going to need to consult them. There are other things that I might have to go back and check later, so I'm keeping that for reference, but these are the only ones that I knew straight away that I really want to have in here. So the first one is questions that I have to ask somebody about a proposal that I've been doing. So I put them on here because I know that I'm not going to have a lot of stuff going on between now and the weekend, so I thought it's fairly safe to start it. And then I've put my upcoming research projects and research project ideas on the second page, and then I've left another page blank so that I can continue, and that should be enough for the year. And then here I've put some notes for an article that I'm working on, and I've sort of allocated that page for it. And because of the redesign in the cousin this year, whether you've got the January start or the April start, they've done the same thing. Instead of giving you March as a like kind of, you know, sort of pre-start date, 2 days per page, they've instead cut those pages out and they've given you this like kind of intro spread for every month. And so I've decided to use this as an index for the month, so that if I use some pages just for like kind of notes that I won't have to come back to, I can ignore them. But if I use them for things like this, like my projects that I'll want to be able to consult, this will tell me where they are. So I've said like, so 1 is questions about this proposal, 2 and 3 are project ideas, 4 is notes for this article. And because this is only for the month, it won't be too hard to check it. So if I think like I know that I wrote something useful sometime towards the beginning of the year, i.e. in the spring, and I want to go back and check it, I can check April and just quickly look and see where were my project notes? Were they here? And then I can find them. And I'll have an idea of kind of when it was in the year, but if I don't, there are only 12 of these altogether, so I can just check the May one, see if it's there, and so on. So I'm really excited about this because I didn't have this last year, and it wasn't really a problem, but now thinking about it, I feel like sometimes I did have to do a lot of flipping through. I know that some people use this vertical spread for that, but because I'm using this in this other way, I didn't want to use it for that, but this is just perfect. So instead of using this just as another page of notes, I thought this can really tell me where everything is, and then I can feel quite confident about having like kind of random notes and, you know, like daily planning mixed in with more permanent things, and that like kind of takes away the need to have a separate reference section at the back. So I can have reference material scattered all the way through, because that was actually something that I discovered last year as well, is that I ended up putting things that I thought would just be random notes in the random notes section and then having to come back to them. And then as the year went on, there got to be more of a blur between the two sections. So I had reference here and notes here, and they were like kind of meeting in the middle, but the distinction between the two got to be less and less clear. So I thought I'll just scrap that, and I'll have this index section, which will help me. And then I'll try to keep more or less to a page per day. And the other thing I've decided to do that you can see already here is that I've decided to write on every line. Last year, because I was just kind of using it randomly, I wasn't writing on every line because I thought it would be it was so small that I was writing on every other line, and I kind of felt like I had an abundance of paper because I wasn't using it with any connection to the day. I don't know if that makes sense, but this time I thought I'd prefer to keep as close to the actual day as possible so that I can use the day if I need to for planning. And then in order to avoid like kind of using something like, say this is my article note page, I want to be able to have this so that I don't have to use another page, because then I might have one page here and then another page here if I have to use this for something else or for daily planning. So if I just use one line per page, that gives you, if I just write on every line instead of every other line, it makes the writing small, but it means you have actually tons of space. So probably this will be all I need. And if not, it's okay because I've got the index. So I can say have one page for the notes on this article here and then another one here, and the index will tell me where it is. So I hope that makes sense. That's all I've got filled in for now, but I'm quite pleased with this setup so far, and I'm sure that it will evolve, and I'll keep you posted and do updates as it does, and I've got more to show you. Then I'll just show you the back, which is again very simple. This is another picture of Panda that I've just washied in. And then I've just got a few sticky notes in here that I keep in case I have to put a note on my office door if I'm going to be out, or if I have to give like a phone number or something to someone. And then I've got an Ollie clip, which I was using in my previous cousin to block off the months, like to keep this view and this view clipped together. But here, because I'm so close to the beginning of the year, it felt lumpy writing on it, if that makes sense. So I thought I'll keep that there and wait until I'm like kind of further along in the year in the weekly view, and then it won't make so much, I won't be able to feel it, and then I might put it back in. So that is my preliminary cousin setup for 2016, or 2016 to 17 in fact. I hope that you enjoyed this, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back again soon with another video. Bye!